Before he was elected president, John Adams, who was the first vice president, might add, observed that politicians, quote, may plan and speculate for liberty, but it is religion and morality alone which can establish the principles upon which freedom can securely stand. Now, of course, that's an important lesson for any lawmaker in this room, but for all of us in this room. But I'm here this morning in part to reflect not only on the words of our founders, but especially on those of their own intellectual forebears, the church fathers of classical Christianity, to which we owe the very notion of religious liberty. And I know we have people of every faith here, but it is, I think, a conceit of modern society that liberty is a liberal concept, but we know that religious freedom flows from concepts central to the Christian faith in particular, the free will of human beings and the essential dignity of all peoples. We find its foundational tenets in the Gospels themselves, with Christ's famous instruction to render unto Caesar that which is Caesar's, and unto God that which is God's. Early Christians, of course, suffered greatly, and unfortunately, many Christians still suffer today at the hands of oppressive state power. It weighed heavily on the church's first theologians and apologists. Reacting to the persecution of his fellow Christians in the 3rd century, the early church father Tertullian of Carthage published an open letter to the Roman consul. In it, he advocated the freedom to practice one's faith according to his or her conscience, and I'm quoting, "It is only just and a privilege inherent in human nature that every person should be able to worship according to his own convictions. The religious practice of one person neither harms nor helps another. It is not part of religion to coerce religious practice, for it is by choice, not coercion, that we should be led to religion," end quote. Now, perhaps unsurprisingly, it was the same church father who was credited with first coining the phrase religious liberty. Decades later, another Christian apologist would go on to advise Emperor Constantine, quote, "Religion cannot be imposed by force. The matter must be carried on by words rather than by blows." And of course, this line of thought runs from the early church fathers to now the modern era, where we recognize that we can't force our faith on anybody. America's founders recognized that their own writings was in dialogue with these philosophical predecessors. In his personal correspondence, Adams himself made references to both Tertullian and other church fathers. Thomas Jefferson owned an edition of Tertullian's collected writings, which he marked up and which today sits in the Library of Congress. In fact, in a personal copy of his own Notes on the State of Virginia, Jefferson went so far as to handwrite Tertullian's quote about faith in the margins of a passage on religious liberty. This is the legacy that has guided America's political principles from the founding to this very day. We remain the world's largest majority Christian country, and the right to religious freedom is protected by the people, for everybody, whether you're a Christian, a Jew, a Muslim, or no faith at all. But religious liberty is not simply, as we all know, about legal safeguards. It is also about fostering a culture in which faith can thrive, so that men and women can fully appreciate and respect the God-given rights of their fellow citizens.